All right, when you're ready to begin, let's start laying down today. So find your way on over to a comfortable place, maybe your yoga mat. You could take your time as you find your way down to Shavasana or constructive rest pose. Take as many detours as you'd like. Eventually try to settle in some kind of way that feels like you could welcome stillness if that's resonating. Legs and arms could be outstretched, or maybe resting your head in your hands. Constructive rest pose is extra nice if laying flat feels a little uncomfortable. Standing your feet up near the edges of your mat and letting your knees or your thighs kind of rest together at the center. Taking a few moments just to see what arrives. Which senses are you most aware of right now? What's going on in your surroundings, if anything? And just like in life, there's only so much we can do, only so much control we can have for our surroundings, especially if you live with other people. So just noticing now the sounds, the smells, the temperature, anything, any of the senses that catch your attention. And then let's see if we can kind of change our perspective here with these senses. Let's try to let those sounds be like wallpaper. They're there. Sometimes they're busy and loud and fun to look at, but we're aware of these senses, but we're kind of pulled back away from them. They're not going to distract us. They are part of the experience, but your focus remains somewhere else. When in doubt, go back to your breath. That's just like general life advice. Whenever you don't know what to do, just take a few good breaths. It at least helps a little bit. With each breath, just becoming a little clearer headed. With each exhale, just kind of processing out any bits of energy that need to be shed or let go of. If you would like to set a dedication or intention for your practice, feel free to bring something or someone to mind. That could be your sankalpa or your heart's resolve, or kind of like your overarching life intention. If that feels a little too much for today, it could just be an intention for the evening or your day or just this class. Maybe it's a theme of the month or a theme of the year. Now let's take 3 clearing breaths. Inhale through your nose, fill all the way up, letting the belly expand. Pausing at the top for a moment or two, and when you're ready, exhale with a sigh. 2 more like that. Eventually inviting in some small movements, maybe letting your head rock side to side as you wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe starting to circle ankles and wrists. Maybe bending and straightening elbows and knees a few times, just making sure everything is coming back online here. Let's head into a long body stretch with your arms and legs reaching in opposite directions. Ooh, maybe a nice yawn. All right. And then standing your feet up, bending your knees. You have a pillow or any kind of props underneath you. You might want to move those to the side for now. We'll press the hands down, the elbows, and the shoulder blades. Tuck your tailbone under so your low back is kind of hugging up against the wall. Before anything else, let's pick up all the toes and spread them out. And just kind of stretch your feet. And then set your feet back down. Nice solid foundation here. Pressure on the arms and feet. Inhale, points reach up. Bridge pose. Let's stay lifted here for a few breaths. Try not to move your neck here. If anything, just tucking your chin a little bit more. Start to press into the upper shoulders. Use your breath here. Try to smooth things out. If you feel any discomfort, you can always try lowering a little bit or lifting a little bit more or toe heeling your feet out wide. Notice the muscles that are really, really working here. Thighs and glutes. One more breath in, and then exhale, lower down. We'll stretch those glutes out now by hugging the knees or shins in toward your body. Maybe taking a little bit of a rocking side to side. Maybe circling your knees. All right, bringing the feet back down to the floor. Arms could come out wide for support. Let's let the windshield, or let's do a windshield wiper legs here. So letting your knees rock side to side. Maybe turning your head in the opposite direction as you continue to switch sides. Okay. And then next time your knees are over toward the right, let's turn onto the right side. Start to press your way up just enough so you can slide your right forearm onto the ground here. You can keep your knees as bent or as straight as you'd like. A little bit bent, I think, is really nice. Let's lift that left arm up and overhead. Reach as high as you can with that left arm. Push down through your right forearm and through that right shoulder. So you're just as tall as you can get those fingers comfortably. Wiggle all of the left fingertips. With a couple of breaths, we'll inhale and spread the fingertips out wide. Exhale, letting your hands come into a gentle fist. Inhale, spread the fingertips. Exhale, fist. Inhale, reaching the fingertips wide. This time, exhale, side bend. We're reaching the left arm up and overhead. Let's keep lifting through the waist and feeling hopefully a little bit of opening through that left side. It might feel nice to place your left hand behind your head and then maybe kind of lean back into your hand. All right, then we'll press both hands into the floor. Come on up. We're gonna switch sides here. So sweeping the legs around. And then coming down to the left forearm. Take your time again, finding a comfortable position. If it's too much pressure on that bottom hip, you could grab a little cushion, blanket. Let's reach that right hand high. Press down through the left arm and shoulder, reaching your fingertips just as high as they comfortably can go. Wiggling the fingers, circling your wrist a little bit. And then taking a big breath and expanding through the right hand and fingers. And exhale, gentle fist. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, gentle fist. One last inhale, spreading the fingertips wide. And exhale, side bend toward the left, reaching your right arm up and overhead. Maybe closing your eyes so you can really zoom in to those areas you're feeling sensation. Option to bring the right hand to the back of your head and kind of twist upward. And one more breath in and one more breath out. Bringing both hands down to the floor, press your way up. We'll be in a seat here for just a moment. I'm gonna sit up on a blanket. We won't be here for too long today though. Sitting up nice and tall here with an inhale, shoulders lift up toward your ears. And then exhale, lower your shoulders back and down. We'll do that a few times with your own breath. Inhaling, shoulders roll up. Exhale, shoulders roll down. A couple more times. One more time, inhale, shoulders lift. And exhale, shoulders lower. Let's tuck the left arm behind our back and start to lean the right ear toward the right shoulder. Just let your right hand find whatever feels supportive, maybe coming up onto tented fingers or placing your palm on the ground. And then focus in on that left side of the neck with your right ear toward your right shoulder. You could experiment with turning your nose down toward the right shoulder and then up toward the sky, keeping that right side tilt of the neck. Could explore here as long as you'd like, holding or moving. And then eventually let's switch sides. So tuck the right hand behind your back, left hand finding the floor, and let your left ear sink toward your left shoulder. Take your time here, softening through that right side of the neck and shoulder. If it's interesting, doing that little twisty thing here, so maybe turning your nose down toward the left shoulder and then up toward the sky, continuing that leftward tilt of the neck. We're gonna eventually end up in a forward fold over our crossed legs. So take your time, letting the arms come forward, maybe bringing your hands to the floor. If you have blocks, maybe bringing your forearms down to blocks. You can let your head kind of hang here. We'll get a block there for support. And while you're in your forward fold, take a few big breaths and feel the expansion through your back. Taking a few more breaths here. One more breath. And start to rise on up. Let's lean back on the hands and switch the cross of your legs. So whatever leg was in back now comes to the front, but let's puff the chest up here and just take a little easy back bend, maybe shifting weight from hand to hand or kind of shimmying your shoulders a little bit. And eventually finding another forward fold over crossed legs. Don't forget about the journey to get there. Settling in and then focusing on that expansion through your back with each breath. And starting to rise back up. If you were using your blocks, bringing them up at the top of your space for later. Well, let's come to hands and knees. Do a little more cat and cow movement through the spine here. So fingertips spread out, palms planted. With your inhale, cow pose, belly lowering, gaze lifting. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. You could kind of intensify your breath here or make it so you can hear your own breath a little bit more. If it feels kind of like funny or weird, just like act act like you're in a play or something and you're really giving the effect like you're using your breath, you're breathing. We can be silly. Okay. A little bit of child's pose, knees coming out wide toward the edges of your mat, toes touching, but big toes touching behind you. Go ahead and sink on into your extended child's pose. Perfect time for diaphragmatic breath, in my opinion. It's really letting your belly soften as much as possible as you inhale and expand. And exhale, letting go. Are there any areas in your life that feel expansive right now? Are there any people in your life that make you feel like a full and accepted version of you? Breathing into those feelings. When you're ready, let's rise up. Coming up through tabletop, let's find our first downward facing dog. So grabbing your blocks if you want, curling your toes under and lifting your tailbone high. Take your time working your way in, maybe bending and straightening opposite knees a few times, maybe shifting forward to a high plank and then back to a downward dog a couple of times. It might be kind of fun to step one of your feet forward and then back a couple times. Eventually, let's settle into our actual downward facing dog. Big breath in and out. Let's start to make our way up to ragdoll pose, bending your knees, looking up toward your hands, and then stepping or walking your way toward the top. You could toe heel your feet out a little wider and let your hips kind of go side to side here. If it feels okay to let your head hang heavy, maybe you grab opposite elbows. Just make sure your breath is a foundational piece. Pose, movement. And we'll start to come up to stand, maybe bending your knees a little deeper. You can bring your hands to your legs for support. Eventually getting to the top, do something that feels intuitive to you, maybe fixing any clothing or shaking out your shoulders or little twists. We can shake, we can bounce. Getting everything, sure everything's in order. And coming on up to the top of our mat. Today's flow is going to be a little bit different than normal. We're going to skip, normally when we do our flows, we're doing a forward fold and then a halfway lift and then stepping back. This time we're going to do it a little different. We'll go really slow through the first time here, and then we'll catch on pretty easy. So take a look at your feet, get comfortable, nice and stable. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, keeping your core engaged. Exhale, baby back bend. We'll cactus or goalpost the arms, puff up the chest, looking high. Inhale, reach high once again. Exhale, fold. Hands coming down to blocks if you have them. With our next inhale, we're stepping the right foot back, lowering the knee down, and finding our crescent moon. So this will eventually flow a little bit better once we put it all together. So you can keep your right toes tucked under or flatten the top of the right foot to the mat. We want to make sure we're not sinking into the hips here. Let's keep some engagement so our glute and thighs are holding everything in place. And then we'll bring hands to blocks. Step your left foot back to meet your right in your downward dog. So we'll do that again here. Go ahead and bend your knees and then walk up to the top of our mat. Let's do it with our breath. One breath to each flow, coming on up. All right, once we're ready, inhale, reaching high. Exhale, a little back bend. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, crescent lunge, stepping that right foot back, arms lifting high. Exhale, downward dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, come forward to your high plank, shoulders over wrist. Exhale, lower your knees, lower your chest all the way down to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Either way, our knees are lifting. We're pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Exhale, child's pose, making your way. Breathing in, reflecting on expansion. Breathing out, letting it be. Breathing in, expansion. And exhaling, letting it be. Inhale, come forward, high, or tabletop here. Curl your toes under and exhale to downward dog. Big breath in and big breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat. Exhale, step just the right foot forward. Keep your left hand down on your block and peel that right hand up in the air, twisting toward the right. You're welcome to press your right hand into your right thigh or knee, or lift that right hand high. Nice, strong breaths here. One more breath in. Exhale, lower your right hand walk your way all the way around the left side until you reach the back edge of your mat. Bend into that left knee, right hand plants, left arm twists high, upward twist to the left. Big breath in and out. Last breath in and out. Lower your left hand down. Walk your way back to the top edge of your mat. Step your left foot to the top of your mat, folding at the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining your hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a few moments, letting any parts of you catch up and arrive in this moment. Or maybe you have to call your mind on back if you are swimming in the future. Let's see if we can notice something in the now. All right, before we continue on, let's take a series of breaths here. The first one will be a hum on the exhale, just the entire exhale humming any old note. And then following that will be a clearing breath, a sighing breath. So hum and then sigh in 2 different breaths. So when you're ready, inhale and hum the whole exhale out. Go ahead. Try to hum with a little more intensity. Eventually, when you get to the end of your hum, take another breath in and sigh it out. With an inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, baby back bend. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step that left foot back, lower it down, and lift on up. Crescent lunge. Exhale, hands come down to the floor. Step your foot back to downward facing dog. Big breath in and out. 2 more breaths with your inhale, lifting up to the tippy toes. Exhale, lower your heels. 1 more like that. Inhale, lift the heels. And exhale, lower your heels. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Exhale, no, lower your knees, lower your chest. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, child's pose. Take a few more breaths here. Reflecting on expansion with your inhales. Inhale, rise on up, tabletop, and exhale, downward dog. Big breath in, gripping through the fingertips. Big breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, but with your exhale, just step the left foot forward. Let's take our twist toward the left, right hand plants on the block or the floor, left hand planting on your left knee or thigh, and twisting to the left. Maybe lifting that top arm up. Big breath in and out. 1 more breath in. Exhale, lower that left hand down. Walk your hands around the right side all the way to the back of your mat. And then bend deeply into that right knee. Plant your left hand. We're twisting to the right. Take any arm or hand variations here. Just one more full round of breath. Inhale and exhale. Lower that right hand on down. Walk your hands on over to the long edge of your mat. So we end up in a wide-legged forward fold. Grab your blocks if you want to. And you might like having your toes turned inward a little bit and your heels maybe outward. You can play with this a little bit, the angle of your feet. And go ahead and find a folding position. I like to rest something on blocks, like forearms. At some point, starting to bend one knee and then starting to bend the other knee, kind of going side to side. You could come up higher with your blocks, if that helps. And let's walk our hands all the way back up to the top edge of the mat. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, hands high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's take our 2 rounds here of our 1 round of humming, exhale, 1 open mouth exhale. When you're ready, take a breath in to prepare for your hum. Maybe even letting your teeth slightly vibrate together. In your own timing, take a clearing breath afterwards. And go ahead and come on down to the floor. We are going to do a little bit of balancing next. We're going to stay seated for most of this. This one will require kind of rolling on the spine. So if you want to give it a try, some people might know that they don't like that. It can feel really intense. So just give that a try a couple of times and see how it feels. If it's too much, let's see, does it work with a little cushion behind you? Oh yeah, that feels, honestly, that feels better for me too. So we're working with that motion here. Maybe you don't go all the way back if that doesn't feel great for you. We're gonna try to catch ourselves in like a boat pose or like an upward position and kind of play with it. So we're getting a lot of core engagement and strengthening. Let's give it a try. So we're gonna sit up as tall as we can, holding onto the knees or thighs. For a lot of people, this could be enough core engagement. You could just hold this. If you'd like to try the balancing part of it, we can lean back slightly, lifting the feet, the soles of the feet up off of the floor just a tiny bit. They don't have to stay lifted too high. If you want, you can continue to hold on or maybe try releasing your hands off to the sides. You can watch the first couple times if you want to, but basically we're gonna roll back and then roll up, trying to get back to that balancing spot, possibly not even touching your feet down to the floor. So we're just gonna, takes a couple times to get it right. Gonna have to really finesse it here. You can hold or you can keep resetting with the roll. It is quick and effective. Eventually, when you've had enough, we're lowering all the way down to the mat, coming to a long body stretch. And a nice, enjoyable little rest. So take a moment just to let go of your effort. And then we'll stand the feet back up on the floor here. Let's do one last little round here of our bridge pose. So just like we did in the beginning, we're tucking the shoulder blades together, pressing arms down into the floor. Inhale, lift back up just like halfway to 3 or to 75%. And breathe with it here. See how your relationship to resilience is. If you're feeling kind of tight and tired, let's see if we can find that expansive feeling with the breath, even just for a moment here. Let's just give it a try. Expansive. And then lower on down. Hook the knees in one last time. We can lift the forehead up toward your knees here to get into some different areas of the back. You can just kind of hold still or find a little bit of a rocking movement. If there are any last poses, movements, or stretches that you're needing, feel free to move through those now. Otherwise, let's squeeze in this little ball for one last breath in. And exhale, Shavasana. You could end up in a position very similar to how you started. Maybe you dim your lights or any other little rituals or routines that help you kind of downshift. Smoothing out the edges of the breath. Softening your jaw so that the biting surfaces of your teeth are just slightly parted. Your tongue hugging or resting up on the top of your mouth. Widening your nostrils or your nasal passageways, or imagining that you can. Letting your airways be clearer and more open. So your breathing just gets easier and easier. Finding ease. And that sense of expansion again. Are there any places in your mind or your body or beyond that feels maybe not so expansive, maybe a little contracted? Do you notice any contraction, tightness, gripping? Just for now, not needing to commit yourself to a full life of softening and softness, but for now, let's see if we can soften any of those tightnesses. Is that a word? Easing up on the reins, if you will. Taking a load off. Letting your hair down. Are there any other sayings? Relax your cheeks, your eyebrows. Try not to restrict yourself in any way from the free flow of breath. Relaxing your face and jaw. Body is relaxed, maybe even the sensation of your body sleeping, while your mind continues to polish itself. Each breath just getting a little clearer, a little closer back to your essence. Less attachments, less distortions and thinking and masks, more clarity, more groundedness, becoming a secure home base for yourself. If this is feeling nice, just kind of remembering that you can guide yourself back to this expansive, slow, intentional place, even just for a couple of breaths in the middle of a busy day or a loud space. Turning your senses, the sounds, the noises into that wallpaper, into that background. It's there, but we're not bothered. Feel free to continue your rest as long as you can. Eventually, when reawakening must come, let's wiggle fingers and toes, letting your head kind of rock and roll side to side a little bit. Maybe yawning or stretching. Eventually, choosing a side and then rolling over to the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in. Take another full breath or two, honoring the pause. And then using the help and strength of your hands, your arms, press your way up to a comfortable seat. We'll join hands at heart center. Thank you so much for practicing today, for prioritizing your own health and well-being so that we can help the health and well-being of all those around us. Together, let's bring thumbs up to third eye center. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Let's seal our class together with a little bow forward now.